Hi everyone, Lily here. So today I wanted to talk about what I used to believe in as a child and what I think most of us believed in when we were children. I've done a quick list of things that I thought were what I mostly believed in. So here I go. So the first thing is, I always thought Mum and Dad were called Mum and Dad. Like, I genuinely believed that they were made to be my parents. I didn't realise that they had their own lives before I was born, or that when I was born and living, they actually did their own thing. I thought they were there to provide for me and basically be my mum. I didn't even realise they had first names. I genuinely thought their names were Mum and Dad. Another thing I believed in is that kissing on films wasn't real. Now, I only thought this, I thought this until I was about maybe 13 years old. I thought that they got each of the person to look like they were kissing and then they would put them together. Because I didn't think that you were allowed to kiss unless you were actually together or married. I didn't think that you were allowed. I thought, oh no, they wouldn't do that in films, it'll all just be fake and it'll all just be put together. And then my mum actually said, no Lily, they're actually kissing. Of course they're actually kissing, it's a film. Another thing I thought in films is that when someone died in a film, they genuinely died. I thought, oh no, that person's dead. Well, of course they weren't, because it's a film. But I was upset. I was genuinely upset because I thought that person was dead. Another thing I felt when I was little is that I had an imaginary friend. Most kids do. My imaginary friend was called Jenny Crayons, and I used to blame her for everything. But the thing is, I thought my parents, believed in her too. So I was like, oh, it was Jenny Crayons. Want me? It was Jenny Crayons. I'm like, oh, okay then, really, alright. And so I got away with a lot when I was younger because I blamed my imaginary friend. And then of course when I was older, I realised that they knew it was me all along, and I felt a bit of an idiot, to be honest. But she's also there to play games with and have fun with. But to be honest, I mostly used her just for the excuse of, who ate the cookies? Jenny Crayons. Okay, right. Another thing I believed in is that when we went to the co-op when I was younger, and my mum used to get cash back, or she used to go to the bank machine and get money out, I genuinely thought that was the bank giving you money, and I thought the co-op was giving you money back. It's like, oh, you just get free money, just go to a bank and get some free money. That's awesome. I cannot wait to get one of those cards. And I really wanted one of those cards. I wanted to go out and I wanted to spend, on this magic card that gives you infinite amount of money, when actually it doesn't really work that way. Which I found out, and I was quite disappointed. Going back to the TV thing, I used to watch Teletubbies quite a lot when I was really young, and I was absolutely terrified of those speakers, those grey speakers that used to come out at the beginning. Oh, I used to hide behind the sofa. I wasn't bothered about the baby. Like, everyone seemed to be bothered about the laughing sun baby, but that honestly did not bother me compared to those speakers. Oh, even now, I get that feeling I got when I was younger, but I don't feel it, I'm not scared, but I remember the feeling of being absolutely petrified of these giant speaker things that used to talk. Oh, I really did not like them. We were all, I think, afraid of something when we were little. I had a very vivid imagination when I was a child. I could literally think of anything, and that of course didn't help when it came to boogeymen. For me, I had, when I was really young, I think I was about 5, maybe 4, I remember being in my room, because me and my sister used to share. We shared until I think I was about 13, 14. So we are quite close actually, so I enjoy that. I enjoy that closeness with my sister. But that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is, I remember being in bed one night and I remember waking up and there was a lion on my wall, a flat lion, like a flat 2D lion, and it said to me, oh Lily, I'm gonna eat you. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but at that time, up until I was about 10 or 11, I always used to push my pillow up against the side of the bed and all the covers, and I wouldn't go near the end of the bed because I was scared that this lion was going to come back and eat me. It's honestly horrible. But on the other side of my imagination, there was my dreams, and I dreamt once that I had a pet dragon, and this again was when I was very little. And this dragon used to take me all over the world, to Disneyland and America and everywhere we used to go on dragon rides. And I remember one night it didn't come, and this must have been in my dream, or I'd stayed up late to wait for it, and obviously it didn't come. And I was saying to my mum, "Mum, it's not coming, my dragon's not coming." And the thing is, my mum encouraged me, and my dad, they both encouraged me, because obviously they wanted their kids to have active imaginations. And they went, "Oh, well, I'm sure if you close your eyes and go to sleep, he'll come back." And it never did. And I remember, again, up until I was about 10 or 11, thinking, oh, well, maybe it only comes a certain amount of times. And I used to write stories, I used to draw pictures. And anyone who used to say, "Lily, you realise that dragons don't exist," they used to be like, "Well, you don't know because you haven't been there, you haven't had a pet dragon." And I used to be obsessed with this dragon, and I used to love anything dragony up until I was about 11 years old. And I still do quite like dragons now, but obviously I know that I haven't got a pet one. Mirrors is another thing. Even now, it's a little bit, I know it's not real, I know it, but still, it's still one of those things, isn't it, where you can see the reflection, and you can imagine there being, well, I can, because as I said, I have a very vivid imagination, but you can almost imagine there being another world out there, like an opposite of what we have today. And obviously that's ridiculous, but it is imaginable, you can imagine it. And I remember when I was really young, I used to think that I could go through, but I couldn't, because the person, my opposite being, used to be in the exact same place at the same time, so we couldn't get through because we were both pushing on the wrong side of the mirror. But I genuinely believed that out there was another world. I saw that very innocently and very nicely up until I watched the film Mirrors when it first came out. Scared me shitless. Honestly, a couple of months after I watched that film, I could not look. I couldn't, well, for example, when I was showering or something, I could not look in the mirror, and I'd always be scared that thing would be in the mirror, like, waiting for me to come back, and so it could, like, slit my throat or something. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. And, you know, it's one of those things that if you have got that kind of imagination, it can scare you a lot. It's those kind of, but I love horror films. I absolutely love horror films. They're like amazing. They're like my all-time favourite genre of film. So the last thing I'm going to say is toys. Childhood toys. I used to believe they came to life. I used to believe that, you know, when I was sleeping, they would get up and they would play and they would have a fabulous time. And that's why I think I had such an obsession with toys. I used to love toys when I was younger, and I still enjoy, you know, soft toys. They're comforting. And I really honestly did believe that they came to life, and I always used to try and catch them. I always used to try and catch them out, and I used to pretend to be asleep for a while and hope that they'd come to life. Obviously they never did. But again, with my active imagination, I remember once getting a massive doll. It was one of the first kind of dolls that kind of were animated, and it was very simple animation. I think it used to close its eyes, and that was it really. And maybe cry, I'm not sure, I can't remember. But I remember once holding this doll, and I must have moved it to a certain angle and it winked. And that was it for me, that was it. I was like, right, toys are real, end of story, that is it. And then there's always this thought in your head afterwards of evil toys, but then when you're younger, you don't really think of that side. You don't think, oh, they're going to come after me. You think, oh, they're going to play and they're going to be all animated and stuff. And that's really it, to be honest. I'm sure there's loads more, but I'm not going to bore you with them. But that is some of the ones I had when I was younger and some of the ones I genuinely believed in, like, these were real up until I was maybe 10 or 11. I thought these things were happening in my life. And then you can always pass them on to your brothers and sisters. When if you've got younger brothers and sisters and you've reached that age of you realise that those things aren't real, you can then tell your brothers and sisters the things you thought were real and kind of, you know, get the funny side of watching your brothers and sisters ask questions about it and stuff, so that's always fun. And then they'll realise and pass it on to the next one. But yeah, that is, you know, things that I used to believe in as a child, and I think people in general believed when they were children. So thanks for watching, guys. Please leave in the comments any other video suggestions, that would be much appreciated. Like, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Peace out.
The motorettes are singing. We keep